Hello, hello. I am here. I knew I was going to end up doing this around the witching hour. I just felt it, and the mood is so right. And so I am finally here. I was supposed to do this at 10 p.m., but this is the perfect time because I've got a fire going and I'm about to carve one of these pumpkins and do some pumpkin magic. And so I thought I would come and talk about my past life regressions as Ma Barker. Okay. So, as you guys can see, I have been quite a spitfire lately, especially today. And so it is because I am literally possessed. I'm under possession by her. She's not going to do anything crazy. She would never do anything to cause any harm to herself, because the one thing that I realized about that past life self that I was is that I actually was committing self-harm and didn't realize it until the end of my life, until I had to watch my son murdered in front of me by the FBI. Okay. And then myself get murdered. And so I want to talk about past life regressions and how some of us can really be famous people. She wasn't really famous, she was more so infamous. She was born in Ash Grove, Missouri, to a very, very poor family. Hey, Jacretia. And she grew up very poor and was somewhat in poor health, but during that time, it was the Depression. During that time, we were going through the Depression in the United States, and a lot of people were going through it, and it deeply impacted, poor families, of course. And so she, I grew up very poor in that lifetime. And so fast forwarding to when she left her father's house. And so right now, what I'm doing is I am traveling because I'm almost there at the time frame that she left. And when she left, she felt rage because her father and her brothers was taking advantage of of me sexually in that lifetime. Okay, so she left and literally was a healer, um, but ended up just being one of them types of people that she just didn't have any understanding of what she was doing to herself, and she just kind of felt like she was Christian and she felt like God would protect her. So she was one of them kind of people. And so looking back, the one thing that enraged her was whores. She hated prostitutes for some reason. She hated prostitution, and she didn't like prostitutes being anywhere near her, but for some reason, they seem to have been around, because wherever you can find poverty or drugs or something else crazy going on, you're going to find a couple of prostitutes. And so she was more so like a lady boss. Like, she would never lay down for no fucking money. She'd rather fucking shoot your ass and take your money. That's how she was. Okay. She'd rather shoot you and take your money. Okay. And so she was planning bank robberies. Okay. She was So, she was a woman ahead of her time, and she felt a lot of hatred for prostitutes because she felt like they was taking the easy way out and they were easy, and she just felt like they were not good women. She did. She didn't like them. And even to this day, the person that I am now, it's not that I don't like prostitutes. I think it would be a deplorable decision to legalize it. Deplorable. So it would be a horrible decision to do that. But again, I am also for women's rights, so I feel like they have the right to do it. But it was one prostitute in particular, because she had 4 sons. There was one prostitute in particular that kind of rolled with them a little bit, and she had planned to kill her, was the original plan, because her son went and talked too much to the prostitute. Okay, so she, you know what I'm saying? She was like, you come with us so I can watch you, because you look like you're going to run your fucking mouth, right? Because she would do what she did, it just, she, just, it was survival. People were starving to death basically back then. So, and so she took the prostitute in, and she had planned on killing her originally, but then she didn't do it because, she was a decent person. But then the prostitute did her wrong. Like, she literally tried to make a plan to kill her and take over her family. Look at the fuck. And so she ended up she killed her. She had her killed. She didn't kill her herself because I think that she kind of took pity upon her. So she had somebody else do it. But she didn't like that. And like, she felt like prostitutes and prostitution destroyed love, real love between a man and a woman. Okay. So she wasn't a whore. She had a husband that she had 4 babies with. And after that, she was, she had lovers after that, but you know what I'm saying? It wasn't, it wasn't like that. It was more so, she had her opinions about, sex or whatever. And so she, the way that they depict her in the movie, she did not like prostitutes. She didn't. So that's why, for some reason, in this fucking lifetime, for some fucking reason, I have always been challenged and confronted by prostitutes for some reason. My whole life, not just on YouTube, but my whole life, being compared to them fucking with me about my fucking sexuality. Breathe. When I feel that spirit, I'm telling her, I'm telling you. And, just my past self helps me fight my battles. You know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of crazy how, like, why you messing with me? Because, like, it was a couple, like I believe that her body count was a lot higher than what people thought it was. But it was kind of like, can you imagine somebody being disrespectful to you? And her husband, George, would have never cheated on her. Never. Okay. So he wasn't just, he just wasn't that type of person. But, she, like, looking back, she's like, nobody would have ever done that to me, but because she had a fucking reputation. All the badasses knew about her, and they knew not to mess with her. Okay, that's why she was murdered at the hands of the FBI, but not her enemies, which the FBI was her enemies, but they were doing their job. Okay. So she understands that and respects that. And so, she knows in this life that she was a monster back then, and she's not that person. In fact, there was another lifetime that I lived, and I talked about it earlier. I don't even want to talk about that. I want to talk about her birthright, because in the United States, all this is stolen. All of this land is stolen that we sitting on anyway. It's all stolen. So she still feels like what she had is still hers. Because she robbed a lot of banks and she actually was hands on with it too. Like she actually pulled off a couple of bank heists. Now in this lifetime, I wondered why I was always Miss Goody Two Shoes. And so I would never go down the wrong path. And just knowing my past self keeps me grounded because it reminds me of the pain and the suffering that I caused to my family and my children. Ultimately, that's a guilt that she used to feel, but then again, she feels, back then again, she was Christian. I was Christian. And I've always had the values when it comes to love. And that's why, so like I've been getting triggered by this whole being compared to a prostitute thing. And it's like, you don't want to go there with me, not with me. Now, she manifested as a witch in this life, but she was a witch in that life too. She was just a Christian witch. She had a lot of power, okay, and a lot of influence. And she was intelligent. She just was hungry and desperate. And it just grew and grew and grew. And she hated poverty. She hated poverty. She hated it. She hated people. She loved poor people because, she understood them. So she wasn't necessarily a bad person. She was, and yeah, she took many lives, and like, so that's kind of why in this life, I've had sort of like issues with, and I've never been to jail for anything, and I never will go to jail for anything. I'm, you know what I'm saying? I'm on the straight arrow in this life, but in that one, yeah, quite a big difference. Quite a big difference. We haven't seen the suffering that was seen back then. Okay. So I was born in 1873. So you would have to know the history from that era, which is very interesting. A lot was happening during that time. A lot of different energy shifts. People can change. They can. The only way they're going to do that is if they let go of their demons. She did play the fiddle, and so she was very, very talented with music, but that wasn't an art that she actually explored because she was robbing banks. Okay. Good morning, J Dub. Hello. Happy witching hour. And, when I connect with her energy, it is always very powerful, but there's certain things that start to happen. And it's always good stuff, So speaking of the previous life before this one, So she was reincarnated in 1935 or 30, was it 35? I think it was 35. And in that lifetime died in 1976. In that lifetime, she died in 76. And then I was reborn in 77, okay, which is my birth year. And in that lifetime, which it was a short life, um, it was a totally different thing. Born into money, um, and also into spiritual money, witchcraft. So I was actually born into a family that they were witches, but it was more so being on a fucking assembly line. It was always work to do. It was like hell. So I left and got married. And now that I think back, maybe the family cursed my marriage. Maybe that's why it ended so tragically. I had like 10 sisters. There was like 11 children. There was a lot of children, and my mother was really, really evil. Way, way, way more evil than the one in this lifetime. This woman makes my mother in this lifetime look like a teddy bear. Okay. And so yeah, man, it was, ooh, Lord. It was like dealing with the devil. So hold on, guys. So I got tired of living that way and having to constantly attack people for no fucking reason, do black magic, attack people. I got tired of it. So I got married and we were really happy at first, but he just got darker and darker and darker. And I'm dealing with both of those past life transgressions because in that life, I was literally in bondage. I could not fucking leave the house. It was like I was a prisoner. If I left the house, I would pay for it. Like he would. I remember. Like the memories are coming back because that same spirit, which I'm not going to talk about who I think my ex-husband was in this life, in the previous life. I'm not going to say who it is, but I can tell you that compared to the person that he was in that life, in this life, he's like a teddy bear or a puppy in this life. Because in the previous life, it was, you know, it was, I love you and I'm loving on you 1 minute, and then the next minute, I'm smacking the fuck out of you. What did you do? I just felt like smacking you. Okay, every now and then it would just be, and see, I was doing my own little spiritual work then anyway. I kind of kept them off of me, but I was in an abusive relationship with this man, and he actually ended up killing me in a jealous rage. And so in this life, I am consciously aware of the fact that the things that are being done to my love life could potentially cause a man to kill me. Any man that I'm with. It's so weird because my current family sort of mirrors them. They're like a echo of that, but not the full fucking thing because that man killed me and it wasn't none but goddamn black magic. And so in this life, I'm like, fuck that. In this life, it's something that it's like that, we're going to make sure that the same tragic thing does not happen. Because I swear to you, it's the weirdest thing, but it's very, 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 very real. And remembering a lot about that marriage has a really, really powerful effect on me. But a lot of the echoes that I get from that marriage are the positive ones. The really, really negative ones, no, ain't nobody gonna kill me. But I do have a problem in this life with my men being extremely jealous. And so I don't get scared of it. I used to. I don't get scared of it. I know what to do about it more so because I think in that life, my magic was kind of limited because I kind of was trained. So sometimes, like in this life, if y'all are present in this life and you're a witch and you're upset and you're like, well, why didn't my mama teach me witchcraft in this life? You know what? It was a reason for that because, maybe it's because it was meant for you to come into it at your own time and kind of like just, connect with your spirits. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's not good to just be, I mean, yeah, you have your ups and downs. Everybody does, even witches. The witches that are on here that try to act like they're all perfect and their lives are perfect, they're liars. Witches have a lot of problems. We have to deal with if we have clients, especially if we have clients. I I have lots of clients. Okay, so just dealing with that within itself. And so that element of that man from the past life, what is still missing is what is still present is the patriarchal curse. And so for me, I would like to have a brand new husband in this life, but that's not going to happen, I don't think. I think that more so what would have to happen is that I would have to do what I know that I got to do. Okay, as far as with manifesting what the fuck I want out of the people that are in my goddamn life. Okay, so it's kind of like it's a crazy heart chakra thing. Um, some of the weird shit that my husband would do to me in that lifetime, it was just really fucking bizarre. Like, and we had a very bizarre, dark relationship. And so I was doing witchcraft since I was a baby in that life, like literally learning how to fucking do animal sacrifices at the fucking age of goddamn 8 and 7 and shit. We didn't do no human sacrifices, but back then we would do animal sacrifices. So I started that at a young age in that life. And so I had demons, so I was, probably very dysfunctional and, was probably thrilled by, this crazy ass motherfucker. That's why in this life I'm kind of attracted to crazy men in a way. Okay. But I think all men are crazy. Okay. We're all crazy. It's good to be crazy, but not crazy in a bad way. But I think that for me in this life, it was meant for me to fix a lot of that because I feel like during the time that I was making that transition, okay, and it's so crazy the way that my lifetime before that as Arizona Donnie Shawnee Clark, my lifetime before that, and that's why my mother nicknamed me Shawnee because my nickname is Donnie. It's my middle name from a previous life. She probably didn't even realize that, but that's why she subconsciously did that, because of my past life. And so it's so different because Arizona Clark ran her husband in that life. Like, he was just like, he even used to say yes ma'am to her. He would say yes ma'am to her. Okay. He was very, very respectful, very chivalrous. In the lifetime after that, it was totally different. It was like her husband just, I mean, just was, I mean, I think he just kind of beat the spirit out of her. It's just crazy. And so coming into this life, I always kind of knew that things would be different because they are very different. For one, in the lifetime prior to that, I think I died at the age, I think, what is that, 38? It's about what, 38? I died, I know it was close to 40. And so I've surpassed 40. So a lot of times, if you guys are having fear of death, you might want to look and see how you died in the previous life. Okay, you might want to look at that because, that death, they call it the spirit of death. You know what I'm saying? And so it's serious, but it's more so, um, it can be your past life transgressions, is what it can be, because it's so weird because it just was no, some stuff that happens. What explanation do you have for it? You don't have an explanation for it, except for that, sometimes the things that we are experiencing are replay. You don't have to sit up there and go, oh, I'm a loser, my life wasn't perfect. That shit is stupid. That's what, spiritualists are here for, spirit guides, and especially those of us that do have a previous life. Okay. I don't believe that some of these people have had previous lives. There are some people that try to, in order for you to even have a twin flame, you have to have a previous life, unless you have a current twin flame from this life. But other than that, twin flames are typically divine couples that have been together. They were, they originated, their soul essence originated together, right? So when the soul was created, or the energy, the plasma, whatever they call that was created for those twin flames, it got split. Now, is it something that everybody wants to have? Sometimes I don't want it because it sucks, because you feel everything that they feel. You have this fucking telepathic connection with them. And it always feels like they're invading your space, which can be very, so it's not always the best thing. So it's that life force, that plasma that got split in half. So this is not just people that met, back in the 1950s. This is a couple that has been together since their own creation of their fucking soul. Okay. And if you were a recently created soul and this is your first lifetime, then yeah, you can absolutely have a twin flame, but it's not going to be somebody else's twin flame. I don't get that, because, and twin flames they're not always getting along with each other and faking the phone. Okay, twin flames will fight and battle each other, and sometimes they even be ready to kill each other. So it ain't always, rainbows and fucking cupcakes and faking and pretending, you know what I'm saying? It's not always that. It's a very, very, very complicated relationship with this, you know, with your other half that you have been traveling through the galaxy with since the beginning. So for people to, when they say twin flame, you have to understand what you're considering. And I'm sorry, when you've spent that amount of time together, of course you're going to create enemies. So if you ain't dealing with the enemy in common, you can't claim that. For real though. So a lot of people need to stay out of it when they be seeing stuff like that. Like, leave that stuff alone, man. You got to leave people alone. For real, especially people, you know what I'm saying, get to messing with you and trying to do spiritual work on you and stuff. My spirits are alive and well. And I'm telling you, it is not a good thing because, oh, here's another thing about Kate Barker. She loved Halloween. She loved that holiday, or this holiday that's coming up. So, you know, she really doesn't want to be disturbed at all. Not no fucking telepathic messages, not no curses, not no nothing. And, you know, I'm going to tell you something. When you get a bear in your backyard, I'm telling you, man, because she had a really, really close connection to nature. She had to kind of live outside, sort of, for a while. So she had a deep connection. She was homeless in her youth. So, you know, she had a very deep connection with nature. And, you know, even so, even more so in this life. And for people to just like try to simplify people's lives and lie and mislead people, it is so irritating. It's irritating. Now, just to let you guys know, there's another thing that I almost forgot about this, the one. I don't know my name from that lifetime, but it's coming to me because again, the older you get, the more like every year, it's like I look younger, but my spiritual gifts grow like crazy. And so I can imagine that eventually I'll figure out what my name was in that lifetime. But the reason why my husband killed me was because I cheated. Okay. And so that's why in this life I don't cheat. So a lot of women will say, "Oh, that's weak. Oh, this man done killed you." And now you, it's like, well, if a man kills you, maybe you know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy for that to happen, but it did. And no, he didn't have the right to do it, but it happened. And I've been getting bits and pieces of it, and it's been really very, very confusing. But it when things start to become very clear, and so that's why in this life, so when a man accuses me of cheating on him, he's dead wrong. Dead wrong. Okay, is what I will tell him. And so it seems like to me that every relationship has been played by that previous life, to where it seems like all of the men in my life, they just kind of, they have like this, extreme jealousy, insecurity, always accusing me of cheating. And I'm like, well, I didn't even understand it, why I was really loyal. But come to think of it, that's one of the things. It's, to me, it's not even worth it, because what I didn't even get an opportunity. Well, I did get an opportunity to tell him because I cheated, but I didn't even enjoy it. I cheated and didn't even enjoy it and wanted him. And so he found out about it because obviously the dude ran his mouth because, he wanted more. And I was like, I'm married. And so I told my husband, we argued about it for hours. And I told him, I said, I admitted it. And so, of course, I would be honest about it if I did that. But, I tried to explain to him I didn't enjoy it. And that sent him into a fucking frenzy. And then it was over. And so I am very sensitive. And then also being that I'm doing all of, you know what I'm saying, with the stuff that I'm doing, I had flashbacks of that fateful night in 1976 when I was murdered. Actual real flashbacks from that. Not like enough to make me act crazy, but it's kind because my spiritual gifts, I've mastered self when it comes to my spiritual gifts. So my spiritual gifts do not hurt me. Okay. And if anything, I embrace all of it because it's all a lesson. When you have things like that happen to you in your past life, you come in, with these kind of like these automatic lessons. And even though there are some people who had an opinion that he didn't deserve for me to be faithful to him, that he deserved for me to cheat on him, obviously that's not how he felt. And at the end of my life, which was the judgment, I was actually physically killed. So, you know, um, whatever it was that I had to go through, because obviously, if my mother, I came right back to a lot of times when, and I think witches have a tendency to do that, or shamans, or others, spiritual people, because my mother was pregnant with me in 1976. So I was born June 23rd. So that means that my mother must have gotten pregnant around October or September of 1976. So evidently, and it's very close. It is very close in, the time frame, but the timing was good because, a lot of times, I mean, I definitely, when you're killed, you can come right back. Like, I think that's why I came like right back. But, it's really weird because again, when you first come in, you forget about all that stuff. You do because you're a brand new person. You're the fool. You're at the beginning of your life. But I think that it is important because I feel like time is like running into each other, like past life transgressions. I think that it's that, but then again, it's also it's connected to our soul resonance. And so that's why when we come in, we have soul mates and we have people that we feel very connected to very deeply. And you know what I'm saying? So that, a lot of the people that are close to you right now probably was close to you in your previous life. Okay. So, anyway, um, I do believe that now I'm gonna tell you the crazy part about it is that if you have a past life where you have killed people, the spirits of those people, I do think that they tend to stalk and they can even possess people. So some of y'all, I know for a fact, you're experiencing this possession that's coming through other people, which is why mediums and psychics have to be very careful. Okay. You have to be very careful because you can end up under possession for years by a negative spirit. I know for a fact that me and my husband, we were really rich. We had a lot of money. And so there was obviously a maid. And of course, he was screwing the maid, and the maid was stealing. And so there's a fucking spirit that kind of follows me around. And I seem to manage to banish it, but it follows me around and it steals my silverware. And so I don't know if you guys ever experienced that. It's something about forks and spoons, and so with I don't know. I think the reason why back then that person was stealing them was because it was like silver. It was like worth a lot of money. But so a lot of the silverware that we're buying now, I know that I'm planning on investing in a really a really good silverware set, that can be like a family heirloom. Probably have to keep it locked up in a damn safe though. But it's just, I think that, it's just symbolic. It's kind of like, well, I don't care if it's a cheap fork or it's a cheap spoon, I'm gonna steal it any fucking way. Just and it moves, this spirit will move stuff around the house. So like, I don't know if you guys, it's a familiar spirit, but it's one of those spirits to where, it's an attachment spirit that seems to move silverware around the house. And so a lot of people will say, oh, it was them kids, but it ain't always the kids. When you think about it, why would the kids do that? Why are they moving silverware around the house? Why does it come up missing? Why is it just gone? Why does it vanish? So it's just really weird. And so, yeah, so you can have a healthy relationship with your past self, is what I was going to say to you guys. So if you guys ever need me, I am here, because trust me, I came from a very dark place. Uh-huh. And that was just, but you know what? Especially those of you that feel that you've always been here. Like, I feel like when I leave, I come right back every lifetime. I feel like I've always been here. And so it's like you just you feel that connection, and it does make you feel better when you're able to make sense of it, and it's partly logic, reason, and then also through spirit. Spirit can really help you, because I have seen people going through, some of the people that are considered to be schizophrenic, they're going through past life transgressions. They'll just be walking around, they'll just be talking to themselves, and it'll seem like they talking to somebody that ain't even damn there. And they can be having a moment to where they are slipping through time, to where they may be experiencing something that they experienced in 1875. So y'all got to consider the past life stuff, especially right now during Mercury retrograde. For some reason, with Mercury retrograde, past life stuff seems to come back up. It's probably just because I guess it's Mercury. I'm not sure, but so anyway, that's why I sometimes get emotionally triggered, because I am a very complicated person. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm also very simple, because you can simplify this. It's not even something like in my everyday life, unless I'm doing spiritual work, or either on here talking to y'all or doing a reading. I'm living life just as normal. I'm not running around here. I mean, yeah, spirits come, they come in, they come in and out. You know what I'm saying? That's with everybody. That's with anybody that's a medium. If you can see spirits around me, you're a medium. I had somebody that could see a spirit around me, but then was judging me because the spirit was there. I'm like, well, maybe the spirit came from you. Like, you know what I'm saying? And he knows who he is anyway. So that's my past life discussion. I would suggest that anybody that is a sex worker that you tread carefully with me, because that does trigger me. It does, and it triggers me very deeply. And no, I ain't no killer. I ain't no killer, but don't push me. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I ain't no killer, but I will do some black magic on that ass, and all my spells work. Okay. Anyway, I hope that y'all enjoyed this spooky, eerie, creepy discussion. I know I enjoyed it. Um, there's a lot of other stuff that I could talk about, but there's some stuff that, we're not even going to discuss. Okay. That was enough. I think that the one thing that Kate wants people to know is that she did love her children, but she felt like they deserved better. And she felt like the world was unfair. She felt like she had been dealt an unfair hand in life. She liked nice things, which was why she had an extremely nice house, lakefront property. She was a revolutionary. It was unheard of to rent houses back then. She basically started that, house rentals. Okay, people heard that story all over. They was like, she was renting the house. And so I believe that she was a revolutionary when it went to that, because back then it was literally unheard of for people to rent out properties. Okay, you either bought your house or I guess, live wherever you could. So anyway, that's another thing that I wanted to bring up. And she was really, really into decorating. She really, really liked to cook. Okay, somebody said that she wasn't a good cook, and she actually was. That they told a lot of disparaging stories about her, and most of them wasn't true, except for the bank robberies and the kidnappings and stuff like that. I think that what happens is that why was she doing the kidnapping? What she will say to you is power corrupts sometimes, and that's what happened to her. She gained power, and she just wanted more and more and more, and became more and more corrupt. But she is very sorry. Okay. And she sends blessings to, the descendants of, anybody that was harmed, while she was on her rampage during that time. Okay. All right, y'all. Y'all have a happy Tuesday. I will see y'all later. I gotta go. This fireplace done got kind of hot. Anyway, love and light to y'all. If y'all need those past life readings, I'm always here and available for you guys. And I will see y'all later. Okay. Peace and love.